Hey everyone, welcome back to another one of our podcasts here. And today's topic is going to be an interesting topic. Let's see how we kind of dive into this one. It's about how do you build a business together as a couple, right? So I know we're asked this question all the time. I'm always pulled over
Happy
to the
wife,
side.
happy life. Isn't that the answer?
I'm asked this question, what's it like working with your wife? What's it like working together? And so, yeah, I would definitely say happy wife, happy life, right? But
Depends on the day.
but
Some days he
it's
wants
still a
to choke
business,
me.
right? We still got to be able to, as sometimes maybe we have to tell each other, no, I disagree with you, or
And say sorry.
yeah,
Or apologize.
to some extent. So, all right, so they're kind of diving right into it. So I would tell you, if I was to give advice to anybody out there, if you're going to be working with your spouse, your significant other, it's really to be able to clearly define each other's roles, right, and responsibilities.
And communicate. And like you have to like style flex a little bit. So like we are like polar opposites when it comes to personality. Joe's like more of a thinker, right? So when something comes to him, he has to sit and take it in, and then he takes time. And then he kind of uses that as an excuse about communication. And then I'm like, oh, you didn't tell me. I was taking it in. I'm like, how long does it need you to take? You didn't have to take that in. But I'm more reactive, which I've learned from you. He's been tremendous in helping me not be reactive.
Right.
But I'm more of like a quicker processor. Maybe that's the New Yorker in me. So, and I'm more vocal. Like I want to talk things out loud and like talk through it actively. But because of my volume and my facial expressions, it could come off more like aggressive, where he's more of like a thinker and it's internally, which sometimes, right, as a couple or in business can make me think, is he not listening to me? Does he not hear what I'm saying? But he literally is just going through the motions in his mind.
Well,
So,
I think you're referring to an actual event that occurred just recently.
But this morning?
Yeah.
Oh God, I wasn't referring to that, but this is in
I
general.
mean, it was
truly,
almost like exactly to like what happened is what you were describing
but
there.
we've had to learn, even after 17 years, we've had to learn each other's personalities and still say, you know what, you're right. I didn't think of it that way. And then sometimes I come in with, but you also know how I am, so
Well, all right. So look, let me give everybody kind of an example of probably what she's referring to, and maybe you
I
kind
was
of
not even referring to that.
feel my pain a little bit, right?
Oh,
So,
God.
all right. So we're defining our roles and responsibilities, right? So in essence, I'm the CEO, and I'm sitting down in a Zoom, speaking with our legal counsel about some things that are happening. That we're getting ready to do, right? Some, transactions and everything else, right? Not to get into the weeds of it, but so we have some other folks on the call too as well. And Deana jumps into my office, walks into my office, and the way we have the computer set up, right? I got my camera, I'm looking at the screen, I'm talking. She walks behind my screen,
So nobody could see me.
so nobody can, but I can see you. And then all of a sudden, I'm trying to I'm dialed in, right? I'm listening. I'm totally engaged. I'm processing what's being told to me, because what's being told to me maybe, is something I have to kind of sit back and think, all right, so this is what direction we have to go in, or what we have to do. And then she's sitting there behind the screen, with his face
He's so dramatic.
and I'm like, trying not to get distracted. And I'm like, dude, this is like crazy. So finally, I'm like, Deana, do you want to say something? And so, that's just kind of an example. I think that, of course, over the years, I know what that look and that face means, but it's still a little bit of a distraction. So, I think knowing roles and responsibilities, because that's afterwards, I'm like, hey, you got to give me an opportunity to process what's being told to me.
It's the same thing. All right, ladies, if you're listening, you know how we are. We're in the details, and the devil's in the details. So I need to know the details. I need to wrap my head around it so I can have a level of comfort or peace, because then at the end of the day, I'm always like, no matter what's happening, high or low, I'm able to stay like even keel, because I get it, I understand it, and I'm good. So, but I'm an over communicator. But you know how the men are, they're like, they give you like,
listen,
they say this much, and you're like, I need more.
But listen, so I get it, right? So communication is definitely not my...
That's why we compliment each other.
It's not my best skill set, for sure. However, man, I was like, I just needed to process what was being said, and then I was gonna kind of figure out, all right, this is what we,
And I'm more
have
like,
to do. This is what's going to go on, and yada yada yada. But yeah. So I would tell you, but we have gotten better over it.
Yeah.
I think because in the very beginning, we both looked at it. Look, it's our company, right? So we both were in it, right, and trying to kind of have a say in everything. And we do have a say, but it's like, all right, let me handle this part.
Yeah.
You handle this part. I trust you.
Yeah.
Go out there and run operations.
And I trust you.
Let me go out there and let me go out there and be the visionary and deal with the
Shake
public
the hands, kiss
market
the babies.
side of the business and deal with the investors and all that Wall Street, stuff that occurs. But so I would tell you,
It's communication and respect too. I think has a lot to do with it.
And it still comes down to like, look, when there's times where we have to make an important decision, a decision that obviously can not only impact right our company and those around us, but impact us as well personally, right? Those are obviously times where we have to then come together and say, okay, here's what, and this is what was kind of happening this morning. It just didn't let me get to that point.
Yeah.
Was let me process, let me understand, let me know exactly what is going on and what are the options and what are different routes that we can take. And then I'm going to go to you and say, okay, hey, we need to make a decision on this. What do you think? Right?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, yeah, I agree. I mean,
Right, so
sometimes
we're recording this, right? So I'm going to use this.
we're in agreement.
I'm going to use this now as like reference next time this happens again. So
There are times we have conversations and I'll just be like, what, that's your that's your wheelhouse. So like I'll default to you, like whatever you decide, I'm good with. I trust that path. And the same thing like in operations, if we're hiring or we're making a decision or making any reorging or whatever, he'll say, you know what, or even an agreement, I trust you, like you go, you do what you do, and I'll support you. So there are a lot of times, actually, majority of the times where we're like that. But then other times, if it's a big deal, whatever, we'll come together. Also, because again, as a couple or even as partners, you have different skill sets, right? And he has his skill set, I have mine, and sometimes it overlaps, and sometimes, it's like he'll come to me for one piece, and then I'm definitely going to him. When it comes to business planning and strategy and vision and innovation or whatever, like I'm like, hey, help me. Even in years prior in my lending company, I'd be like, hey, help me think of something here. And then when it comes to like people and like putting together the plan or documenting that stuff or the processes and all that stuff, then he'll come to me and be like, hey, help me put this together. So I feel like we have a little overlap, but we have definitely key skill sets that help us really work well as a team.
What do you think? All right, look, let's be real. And I'm curious, I'm gonna put you on the spot here. What do you think is been like the greatest challenge of working together?
Well, I think the greatest challenge is because we're both in it as a family.
Yeah.
So think about that. When we're sitting there, this is real life, right? So when we're sitting there and we both have to be in a meeting because we are CEO, COO, and partners, and our kids need something, or the house has something, or your mom or my mom, or something happens in our family, it's like, who's going? Right? And you would think default, like, depending on who you're asking, it's like me, I got to go, right? But like if he's on a call that he can take on the road, we look at each other. And I think we do that very well. Like, hey, we also have my oldest daughter who's a godsend and she helps with that. But I think as a family, the biggest challenge is just making sure that we balance it all when it comes to the kids. Because, one day I may be working till 8:00 and he can leave, right? And then other times he's got to be flying somewhere and then I'm home. So I think that's the biggest challenge. Other than that, I find it very exciting and I love it. I mean, I enjoy when we get to travel together, even though our kids think it's like all fun and games. I'm like, guys, like you may have seen us clicking a drink or having a dinner, but we were working. We were up early. We had meetings and interviews and like we're working here. But I think that's it. Just balancing that because we're both the head of our household.
Well, yeah. So balancing is something that I definitely want to touch on. But I'll tell you probably one of the challenges that I would say of working together, and it's not just with your spouse or significant other. Maybe it's just with family, right? Because I mean, let's use our like daughter for an example, who does work with us as well. When you're family and you're in your at home, you may have a certain way of kind of being with each other, or I don't know, maybe it's easier. Like I guess even with our daughter as an example, it's easier for us to be like, what are you thinking? Like, no, that's stupid, right? Like it's you. I don't know. To me,
Well, we don't say stupid to our children.
well, but maybe that was a stupid decision, right? Or maybe that was right. We'll talk a certain way, I guess, to family or people that you're closer to because you live with them.
That you wouldn't say to a worker.
Right.
Yeah.
So, at the office, I'm not going to go to, somebody else, another C-level executive or anybody else and be like, man, that was a really stupid decision you made, right? So I think you have to kind of, deal with that in essence, right? I mean,
It depends. Like, thank God for
maybe
you.
I'm admitting something that's more of what I'm dealing with rather
But
than
thank
you.
God
But
for you. I can take the emotion out of it. Like, business is business. And when I'm in a business role, like, that's the priority. And even if you do hurt my feelings or whatever, like, I'm going to tell you maybe later, but,
yeah,
but it's what it is. Like, it's like we tell our kids, there's no crying on the field when it comes to sports. Well, in business, we decide to be partners. It's business first and the emotions stay out of it,
right. Well, you say
but
so.
we definitely talk to each other. Like if we're disagreeing or something, we're definitely going to talk differently to each other than we would our team members or our leadership because, it's you and I. And I mean, you're from Miami, I'm from New York. So the way you talk to me and I talk to you is totally different too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but look, even like, there was an
always
example.
underlining with love and respect.
Yeah, of course, right? So there was an example just recently where, again, if it was within another coworker, maybe I may not act in this way, but where I was like, man, you know what? Shut the door for a second. I want to tell you exactly how I feel, how my feelings were just hurt right now by your actions.
Who does that?
I did that just recently.
You did?
Yeah. Well, I guess maybe it didn't sink in with you and it went in one ear and out the other. Yeah.
Oh, well,
I was like, hey, I just want you to know. I guess look, it's the new me,
okay,
right?
I
I'm gonna communicate. I'm focusing on my communication.
Yeah. I was totally ignoring you.
Yeah,
I ignored you.
obviously. See, maybe that's why I don't communicate because I'm talking to the wall.
No,
So,
I listen.
all right, well, let's get on to another part of working together is knowing how to create that
before you go forward, what's good though? Also, like we leave it there. That's another important thing. If you're going to work in business together and have a family, you got to leave it there. So like when we're at work and we're having, because we get on each other's nerves. Who's going to say we don't? Like, and the thing is you're quieter and you
Right.
keep things to you where I'm more vocal. So I probably annoy you much more than you annoy me. Yes and no. But when we get home, it's like we can shut it down. It doesn't
Can we?
Don't we?
Can we shut it
I
down?
mean, I'm still sitting on the couch in your arms, cuddling with you, and not mad at you because you ticked me off and left me out of a meeting or some.
Yeah, but see, that's what I was gonna get to next is knowing how to have that ability to like turn on and turn it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm so glad that we are recording
okay.
this because I am gonna go back and use this.
You're right.
I'm gonna put this on my phone.
This is
And
different.
be like,
You're
hey,
talking
remember when you
about-
said this? Let me replay this
You're
because
talking about shutting down on business. Yes, I have. Yes, I'm going to raise my hand like an AA meeting. I have a problem with shutting down on business, admittingly, because I'm so passionate about it and everybody that involves that I do have a problem shutting down. And when it comes to a certain time, Joe does want to shut down. And even we started doing these walks together in the morning. And then I'm like, okay, let's get this. It's like what we say to our kids, like, what level of listening? Am I listening just to listen and hear you out? Or am I giving advice? Like, tell me before so I don't so I zip it. So for him, I'm like, okay, are these walks for business conversation, personal conversation, or a quiet time? And we're just looking at the birds because it is hard for me to shut down. And there have been times where we'll be in bed and he must have fell asleep and I didn't know. And I'm like, oh my God, I just thought of this. And he's like, are you serious? You just woke me up? So I text him now in the middle of the night. I text him my
literally
thoughts.
like shaking me. Hey. And I'm like, dude, are you kidding me right now?
I know, it's hard.
Right?
It's hard to shut down.
And like I have a rule is that like the weekends, I want it to be, about us and the family. And like of course there's gonna be topics that come up, a text that I'll get, text that you'll get, emails, whatever be the case. But I will tell you this is that and this is maybe not just for couples, as advice working together. It's just for just being in business. Is that you got to have that balance.
Yeah.
You got to have that ability to be able to, shut down, and just got to have balance. Because if it's all about one thing, whether it's all about business, your personal relationship is going to suffer,
Yeah.
right?
Plus
And
the
then
kids.
if it's all about your relationship, then your business is going to suffer.
Yeah.
So of course, there's got to be definitely that happy balance, and the kids for sure, because the kids, I
Yeah.
think sometimes we always kind of question ourselves as parents. I was like, do our kids understand like the sacrifices that we're making?
Yeah, and
Do
then they say that
understand?
one thing, we're like, thank God it's working. Like
Yeah,
they're hearing
yeah,
it.
yeah.
No, but and I don't want to say I don't believe in balance, but the word balance is to me like it's like a crap word, because honestly,
So then, what is it then?
well, because like think about it. When we were going public, we were all in. So we had to sit down with the kids and be like, okay, listen, this is a key time now. This is for the future. You have to understand. And like the family activity stuff are gonna bleed a little bit right now. But then when we're at a certain place, we're like, okay, we're taking vacation, so we have to empower our leadership and whatnot, because there's got to be a time where something's bleeding a little bit so that you can put attention on something else. So it's like
I
you can't have
agree.
balance in the day per se, or balance in it. It's got to shift. So it's more, to me, it's more of a shifting, and which is why we're so
Well,
good with vacations
Yeah, well,
and intentional time with our family.
Well, look, I would say that there's definitely times, of course, leading up to the IPO and everything else. Yeah, you may definitely lean a little bit more towards business than family time and everything else, but you need that time. So
Yeah.
I would disagree to some extent. I think balance is it's almost like this, right? So it's like, I've used this analogy a million and one times, whether when I'm coaching somebody one-on-one or in a big group, whatever else, is like, it's like your cell phone, right? If you don't plug in your cell phone daily,
Yeah.
right, it's what's going to happen. The battery is going to die and then you can't use it, right? So you got to recharge it. You got to give it some juice, some power. So to me, I think that we're all needing that ability to get that reset, that recharge,
Yeah.
and that's why, like, for years, I've always promoted, like, have some time in the mornings and, focus on you so that you can be recharged. So I think even when you're in a relationship, when you're working with your significant other, your husband, your wife, whatever be the case, you got to have that balance and that time that reset as a couple as well. And because, to me, that's key.
Yeah, you shouldn't just jump into it. Like literally, if you're going to make that decision, you get to sit down. What does that look like? Be in agreement, set the boundaries when it comes to that, because, we're both so different, to make sure we're in agreement on that, right? Because you want to be able to shut down at some point and not carry things over, especially if you don't agree at work or you don't agree at home. Say you annoy me because, I don't know, you left a dish in the sink. I'm not gonna bring that to work when we're in a meeting, right? Which I'm just saying that because he always leaves dishes in the sink, but
I do.
I'm just kidding. But like things like that, we're not gonna bring that. You didn't let the dogs out, and then we're gonna be in a meeting and be like, you didn't let the dogs out today. That doesn't happen. But we also don't sweat the small stuff. I feel like we don't do that at all. I will say one thing again to consider, or one thing that we recently experienced, is being partners and being, husband and wife and the center of our family, and even for our moms, and then being CEO, COO. When you went through everything you went through, then it's like, okay, now we didn't know in the beginning, like, is this going to be a week? Is this going to be 3 months? So then how do we handle that? And I think we handle it amazingly, both you and I, and I think that's a testament to how strong we are, how our leadership is here. So that was kind of like different, because I wanted to just be your wife while you went through your health scare and your surgery, and I had to be the COO. So while you were doing that and you were having your sleeping,
you had to be the CEO too. Well,
that's what I'm saying. And I wanted to just be your wife and the mother of our kids to walk them through that. But I had to, because my responsibility and and my dedication, I had to also be the COO. And I got to balance it. And thank God, because of our leadership and everything, and also praise God that you're healthy now and all is good. But that's a challenge, because, you want to just be the wife, but now you're the partner, or the, in my case, the COO, and you got a big responsibility. You don't just get to put that to the side. You have to take that seriously.
Yeah.
And again, I honestly, and I'm not just saying this because it's us, but I think we do a great job. We get on each other's nerves. We don't always agree, but I feel like we default to each other to make decisions depending on what the topic is, or depending on whose wheelhouse it falls in. And, we've navigated pretty well. I mean, listen, we've gone through the worst of the markets, between market crashes and the whole COVID thing, and then going public and everything going on in the economy. And then even personally, throughout our whole entire marriage, we've been through all the vows,
Right.
Having a son in the NICU, blending our families. I mean, we've gone through it all, and we've soared through it. So that's just a testament to who we are, I think.
So if we can go back in time, and I guess maybe it's a good way to kind of close, this podcast and this topic, right? So if you can go back in time and give both of us advice, right, going into now, this venture of working together, what would be the number one piece of advice that you would have given us 15, 20 years ago? Make you think about that one. I'll put you on the hot seat.
I mean, I would just say, and because I guess we had to work through that. It's just upfront, make a decision, lay it out, really be on the same page about how it's going to work, almost like an agreement of how you're not going to carry it home. You're not going to let it bleed over to, home to work, work to home, and have a commitment of communicating. And honestly, for you and I, what did I say recently? It's like, we need a certain amount of time, because people will reach out to me. It's like, grab Joe and ask him this. And I'm like, when we come home, we have 5 kids, we have 4 dogs, we're super busy. We have our moms, that are a priority in our lives. So it's a hard. We have to plan the time. We can't just say, oh, if it's not going to happen. And we've gone that route. So I would say, to not have to go through all that, to try and figure it out, plan time to have those conversations, whether it's in the beginning of the morning, that you are on the same page. So be on the same page, dedicate that time, have those intentional meetings, both in business and then in family life, to be able to have those date nights, have those family nights. And honestly, I mean, it's never going to be perfect. So if you're looking for perfection, it's not going to happen. You're going to torture yourself. But I think we do a good job. Could we do better? I'm sure. I mean, if my kids were here, I'm sure they'd say we could do a little better. But I really think that we do the best we do a great job.
Yeah.
But my advice would be to just figure it out up front. If you're going to go in and you're going to make the commitment, lay it out, the boundaries, the roles, and even sign a contract about really just being in that, the respect, the responsibility of it, and having the quality time at home and then in business. And, one of the things I still work on to this date is, because my facial expressions say it all, is knowing okay, maybe that is for a private conversation, not to bring up, because I'm used to feeling a certain way, and I got to share it, and I'm very upfront with that, and I'm really authentic that way. But sometimes I get to pull back and be all right, maybe I'm going to think the way Joe thinks, and then I'm going to handle it later. So, which you've taught me not to react to more,
Right.
So
Don't
learn from each other.
Don't have a knee-jerk reaction. Right. Just respond, right?
And don't want to be right. Because if you want to be right in a situation, then you're making your spouse, your partner wrong.
This is great stuff. I'm going to use this later on.
But that's the truth of it. It's it doesn't have to be about right or wrong. It has to be this is how I feel, this is how you feel. This is my thoughts about the best approach. This is your thoughts. Well, where do we meet in the middle? Or maybe just, you know what, you go with your approach because, that's your wheelhouse, vice versa. So I think it's the approach of it. It's using your words wisely so that you're asking the right questions and you're having open conversation, not being insulting, not being demeaning, condescending, or not just being no, but you're wrong. No, but see, my way was right. Not being like that. Don't be adding up points. If you're into this together, this is you each are gonna fail at things. You're each gonna make mistakes. This is about a unified goal, and you have to always come together. And listen, when he's down about something, or he's not, maybe even stepping into a little fear or whatever, I'm there to pull him out of it and be oh, no, God's got us, we're good. And if I'm having a doubt about something, or if maybe even I'm getting overwhelmed with personal, the kids and me and home life and business life, he's the one that will send me a text or whatever, or come and be you got this. And so you got to be each other's cheerleader, because at the end of the day, through all the years, the 17 years we've been together, we've gone through a lot, and we've had a lot of people come up against us. And if we weren't in each other's corner, through thick and thin, 100%, not letting anybody create a crack in the foundation of our marriage, of our family, of our business, we wouldn't be where we are.
Yeah.
And I thank God for that. But it's also like you cannot let people, business or life or even, situations create cracks in your relationship or your family, because that's what people do. And that's when that doubt comes in. That's the bad thing. And so I think our foundation of our relationship and what we've created is the key to it. And you have to have that if you're going to go into business.
You got to have a solid foundation, obviously, if you're going to build a business together. So,
what's your advice? Because I feel like maybe now you're feeling bad about what you're going to say.
No, I think you hit it on. I mean, there was like 4 things that were kind of coming to my mind, right? One is right from the get-go, like establish roles and responsibilities, right? That's number 1. Number 2 is definitely, obviously, plan, right? Plan on what it's going to be like working together. And like, there's things that, I have to respect and understand. Like if you have meetings, I can't tell you, hey, wait, forget about the meeting. Go pick up our kid at school, right? Let me find out how I can help you because we're in this together, right? We got to back each other up, on the personal side and within business.
Were you just insinuating that's my job to pick up the kids?
No, not at all. I'm saying what I'm insinuating is that I'm your backup, right? And you're my backup. So there's times where I take the kids to school every morning. There's times where you pick them up, right? So we have to, kind of, again, if I'm not available, you're available. If
and
you're not
lunches
available,
and snacks.
and if you're not available, then I got to be available, right? And then third thing is what I would say has always been a challenge for me is just have open communication. If you don't like something or you don't feel a certain way about something, like talk about it, right? And then fourth
don't build it up. Yeah.
Last thing I would say is, which is, I know you didn't like the word balance, but you got to have, to me, you got to have that balance, right? You got to have that time to reset as a couple, as a family, and then of course, in business. So those are my things I'd recommend.
Yeah, communicate with your kids too, right? Like I think when you bring your kids into it to explain to them why you're doing what you do in your business and what the purpose of it is, and they understand. Like for our kids, we do a lot in the community, and I think that's the foundation that we want to build for our kids. Why are we doing this? It's not just about us. It's not just about a car, a house. It's truly about purpose and give back. So pulling them into what you do, letting them know, don't just come home and not talk about your business to that degree. Like let them know like the lives you're changing, the impact you're having in the community, in your business, and then how that's going to affect them in their future, regardless if they choose to do what you do or not. And then for us, it is, though, it's like we're able to take these vacations and create these memories together. So I would definitely recommend that. Make sure your kids know what you're doing and why you're doing it and the impact you're having, because then they will have more they'll have more grace with you when you're maybe ordering in for dinner that night, or, you're coming home a little late, or you have to fly somewhere for the night. So, yeah.
Well, hopefully you guys got some valuable...
Some nuggets,
some info on what it's like to maybe work together, or if you are thinking about working together with your significant other, go for it. It's been, to me, one of the greatest things I've been able to experience. We've accomplished a lot, but accomplishing it next to you with you by my side has been making it even more like unbelievable. Yeah. So, all right. Well, that's all we got for you for this week. Hope you enjoyed this podcast, and we'll see you guys here real soon.